Hey guys, Vern. So today's vlog is going to be a little bit different. Instead of starting at the bottom of a climb and start vlogging, we're going to start at the top of our climb and then vlog downward. So today we are at the backside of St. John's Fortress in Kotor, and I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll start heading back down. All right, so when we were up in the fortress up here last time, looking out the window, you could see these switchbacks on the backside, and that's where we're at today for our hike. And look at this amazing view here of Kotor Bay. It just takes your breath away. It's so nice here. Look at that. It's hard to get over how amazing this is out here, you guys. Just unbelievable. Just speechless looking at this place. How do you not love that, right? All right, so here's kind of my check-in also as I'm walking down carefully here. I basically decided to get the COVID shot. And the shot that I took is the Sinopharm shot. I started looking at my options of what it was going to cost for all these COVID tests. And it just got to be more than I was going to want to spend for continued travel. And my other thought was, since I am desiring to go back to the Philippines as soon as it opens, it will probably be open at first to people that have had the vaccination. That's my thinking. So that was my thought. And in about 5 more days, I will be able to get the second shot. So I'll show you what I'm looking at. It's a little hard to keep focused on this camera when I'm walking down. It's pretty rough. All right, so this is today's trail. And you got to kind of pay attention to what's going on here. It's not the safest. It'd be easy to twist your ankle coming through here, so you got to take your time. But this area is just freaking amazing. Look at this canyon. Look at this, you guys. How do you not just fall in love with this place? So picturesque in here. I don't know how many switchbacks there are, but there sure are a lot of them. And you really got to watch your footing coming down. What I'm trying to say is it's not like you're going to be walking and not looking down. Otherwise, you're going to be on the ground. It's very unpredictable. But in any event, I decided to get the Sinopharm shot, and it seemed to make the most sense for me. Now, I know some people, they don't want a shot, and I think that's okay. I think we each have our own choice to do with our body what we do, and for me, I chose the Sinopharm. For one, it was available, and second, I read that it was made the old way vaccines are made, from a part of the dead virus. And to me, that made more sense than an experimental vaccine. And I guess you could go either way for what you decide. But in some ways, I kind of took the first thing that was available. And it was free. Lucky me. We'll find out, right? We'll find out. So I've had a lot of ideas of where I wanted to go at different times, but it just didn't pan out for what was open. And if I could get into a country, then there wasn't much to see because a lot of the places in the country were locked down or they had limited traveling ability from one district to another. And so I kind of put off going. And since it started to get warm, and I wanted to be where it was warm because I froze my butt off in Turkey and in Albania, I decided to kind of hug the coast for a little while. But now it's in the 70s. Not sure what that translates into Fahrenheit. It's probably 20 something, but so I know a lot of travelers that have made best laid plans and everything's just kind of been unpredictable, hard to count on. And when you weighed out your options of if you could get into a place, would you actually be able to go around the place? Things kind of seemed like, well, maybe I shouldn't go to X, Y, or Z. And so Montenegro was kind of the path of least resistance from Albania. And I'm glad I came here. It's a beautiful country. I think there was only like 600,000 people in the whole country. It's so uninhabited. And what's really bizarre, for places that have seen habitation for thousands of years, how can there be so few people? It just blows my mind. But in any event, that's the case. Be careful walking down here. Sometimes the trail just has a tiny little wall to keep you from going off the edge. It's off you go. That would be very bad. Very picturesque mountains. I have a screensaver that has mountains that have this exact style, color, and foliage on it. And I'm just thinking, I'm gonna see that place somewhere out here in the Balkans. My screensaver, wherever I'm going, it's bound to be here somewhere. I just recognize the color of the mountains. It just looks identical to my screensaver. All right, so how much does it cost where I'm at? I'm staying for €8 a night with the tax. So if you times that by 30, that's €240. And maybe that's $280, $300. Without looking at a calculator, I'm just gonna guess $300. So where else can you stay in a prime country with this much beauty for $300 a month? Right? I mean, that's not too much money. For me now, I usually just eat some fruit in the morning and then one big meal a day. You know, and you can eat in a restaurant between $5 and $8 for a simple meal. Or you can eat from the grocery store for the same amount of money for a little bit better meal that you have to prepare. People have asked me to do like a little budget, and I can give you just the basics of a hostel's gonna run you for a bed. It's gonna cost you about €8 a day, which is probably 2, 4, 6, 8. I'd just say $10. Let's just pencil it out in US dollars at $10 a day. So you got 31 days. So you're $310 US for a hostel bed. Now, you can find an Airbnb for a little bit more, about $425 US. So that's your sleeping costs, your housing cost. Then if you want to eat out, you can spend anywhere from $5 to $15 at a restaurant. In a really high-end restaurant, you could spend about $20. You know, and that would really add up. So if you just figure about $300 to eat, and then another $300 to live. So you're looking at $600, and then maybe, I mean, your bus fare's cheap. You're running about, God, it looks like barley or grain here they got growing. Look at this. What is that? This looks like barley from back home. I don't know if it would grow on this hillside like that. See that? Looks like barley. So you've got your food and your rent for about $600, and then your bus is about €1 one direction, so €2 for a bus trip somewhere for the city bus. Your long trip bus, like from here to the capital, Podgorica, would probably be, I'm thinking about €8, €8 to €10, and so that's $10 to $12, maybe just a little bit more. And then most of the things this time of the year, they've been open. I haven't had to pay any extra fees. So, you know, you can live easily $800 or less if you want to live humbly and you don't need to do big excursions or tours, and maybe you want to cook a lot of your meals. It's not that much to travel. It's not much more than it would be to pay rent in a place somewhere. You can actually live a little bit cheaper if you want to hostel it. And maybe you could source like a local home to rent even cheaper. I'm not sure about that yet, but that's my guess. Usually you can rent a place a little cheaper than an Airbnb. All right, so we're still up a ways. It's a ways down. It took me, I don't know, maybe over an hour to get up this high. I did some poking around down below for about 20 minutes. Probably an hour and a half from my hostel to poke around down by there's a little river down here. I'd say about an hour and a half to get up to where I came to today. Now, what really worried me was along this path on this brick wall, there's a sign that says wolves. And that kind of had me unnerved. After having the dogs come at me when I was in Turkey, to see something painted on the wall 2 different times that said wolves with an arrow, yeah, I'm a little concerned. But there was a couple that was ahead of me and they didn't seem to say anything, so I figured, okay, got a pocket full of rocks, let's go for it. If you stay at a hostel, at least you have access to a kitchen. So if you want to cook, you can buy yourself some packages of soup, buy some vegetables, chop up the vegetables, buy some kind of a meat, chop it up, put it in there, maybe some chicken, buy half a chicken somewhere, throw that in there, and that'll last you 3-4 days. Eat some fruit, buy a loaf of bread. A guy can live cheap. There's no excuse to not travel if you have a little bit of money. You don't need a lot to travel. It's kind of an excuse. I think people use that. I can't travel. It's going to be so expensive. Well, it isn't much more expensive than it is just to live somewhere. So why can't you just live in a different place and travel instead of paying rent where you're at? If you have enough money to live one place where you're at for a month, all you got to do is save up for that airfare or get on a bus. Take a bus somewhere. Save up for a boat. Boats are slow, but they're cheaper. They're a lot cheaper if you can find a boat. And they should start going pretty soon. I was reading that on Travel Off the Path, they're going to kickstart some of the boats, some of the tour boats. I'm not sure where yet. This is what I was reading as I'm walking up. I'm like, wolves? That doesn't make me feel too good. Right? What would you think? Would you guys be concerned if you read that? Maybe not, maybe yes. So one thing a guy said to me that was kind of strange, he said that the buses here are more expensive the shorter the distance you need to go. If you need to go a longer distance, the prices are cheaper. I thought that was really unusual. Why would that be, right? Usually it's the opposite. So that's something that I can recommend. So if you need to travel cheaply, take big distance trips at once. You know, if anything, this has been a get in shape vacation. And if you're like me, I recommend it because I was a lot overweight. My gosh, when I took the scale before I left the Philippines, I was 100 kilos. And I've never been that heavy in my life. And I put on a lot of weight from when the holidays hit until the lockdown, and then from the lockdown forward, because I just wasn't active. Just sat around eating. I packed my fridge and my pantry full of food. I just sat there and ate. Didn't get any exercise. And that was the heaviest I've been in my life. And now I'm starting to get to the point where I'm almost to the weight that I was when I first went to the Philippines in 2016. It feels great. My clothes are really loose fitting. It got to the point where I couldn't even find pants for my size. It was really hard to find. It was like a 42 waist. When I was a kid, I was like, I want to say it was a 28 or a 32, somewhere in there. I mean, it was really small. And then to have like it was I don't know, it seemed like a 42. That's crazy. That's crazy. Because I'm 5'8". To have that waist is way too much. And so my jeans I have to wear with a belt now. They're so loose, which is fantastic. Hello?
Hello.
How far up is the mausoleum? There's a
mausoleum.
mausoleum up there, somebody had said.
What's a mausoleum?
Maybe it's like a burial area. Is there anything up there that...
Yeah, it's not too far. Like,
Oh, l'église. Oh, yeah. Oh. Well, you're going up, so maybe 20 minutes?
Okay.
20?
Okay, maybe I come next time. Next time I go up.
it's really not that far.
Yeah, it's not that
Oh,
bad,
really?
though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I need more exercise though, so I'll come tomorrow and do it again.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's worth
I do
it.
it.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Can you see around the whole valley?
Yeah,
it's
it's
amazing.
beautiful.
It's
Wow.
really, really
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, I will do
Yeah.
that.
But it's not all the way up, eh? It's like,
Oh, wow.
it's not far.
Halfway, yeah.
So just past, is this halfway or less than halfway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. These guys told me that it wasn't too much farther up to the top and that there is some kind of a ladder up to the top of this building that you can use to get back into. So yeah, check it out. All right, so this is the back side of the fortress here. A lot of honeybees in here pollinating, if you can hear them. Starting to see people come down the path now. They're trying to get down before it gets dark. It stays light, very late here. I want to say it gets dark at about 8 p.m. and it's only the end of May. Really awesome. Very awesome. In fact, I'm used to it getting dark in the Philippines at like 5. So very different. Here's a better look at some of the switchbacks going back down. So what did you guys think of that nightlife video? Did you like to see that people were hanging out and it was busy? That video was made over about 3 different weekends in the Old Town Kotor, and I started on the 8th. And so every 3 days or so, there'd be a really good musician playing, and I'd run out there and try to record it. So most of those people, if any of them, they weren't wearing any masks. And I think people have just about had it with the masks. You know, I think it's about time that we figure out how to get back to normal. You know, I tend to bring a mask, but I seem to only wear it if I'm going in a store. I'll pretty much have it around my chin. Or if I'm on a bus, then I wear it, or in a building. But outside, it's kind of crazy to be wearing a mask outside, if you ask me. So maybe that's the solution. Maybe we all need to be outside. I think what people should also do, if your climates are warm enough, have your patients outside. That's what they did in the old days when they had to quarantine people and they wanted people to get healthy. They put them outside instead of inside of a damn hospital. I tell you what, they had a way better success ratio of people getting healed. And so who wants to sit in a freaking dark building feeling sad instead of being outside, smelling the air and feeling much better? So I gotta watch the ground here. It's getting kind of slick. All right, so now you can see the switchbacks going up even better from here. Good place to rest.
Yeah. Very good.
It's actually harder to go down with the loose rock than it is to go up. The feet seem to lose traction on some of these loose rocks. Boy, the sun sure disappeared past that mountain fast. I thought it'd be at least another hour before it went over completely. It's the most people I've seen in a while, actually. So today's goal wasn't to make it to the top. I wasn't really even going to go up this thing. But once I started, it was hard to not want to keep going. So I made it 2/3 of the way up, and I just decided, I would want to stay up there longer anyway if I did go there. So I'm gonna have to do it a different day. I might drone when I go up there next. All right, so there's a river that runs right down here. Comes out of this canyon here. If I have time, I'll walk up to it. So we're getting close now. Not much longer. All right, guys, we're almost down to the bottom here. Almost here. Didn't take too long to get down. 25 minutes. Hard on the feet, though, walking on these rocks. Wear some really good stiff shoes. Otherwise, your feet are gonna hurt. These rocks going up into the center of your foot all the time. This looks to be somebody's home here. Looks like they peeled off the roof of some school buses and made their home. I don't know where the entrance is. Seems pretty sketchy, though. Some real off-the-grid living there. Not sure if there's anybody in it or not, but if there's anybody in that, they need to do a little bit of roof repair. Find some more tin. Hard to say if there's anybody in there now. At some point there was. Seems to be a nice little bench here. I think we're gonna rest here for a minute. Whoa. So I think those guys are Russians. Listening to them speak, it sounded Russian. Heading back to the old town. Gonna have a good time in the old town tonight, as they say. Is that where that came from? We'll never know.